We have one last session, and the topic for the session is engineers in making, degrees or skill sets versus self-learning or mentorship. The speaker for the session is Sebastin Britto Stephen. He's currently a data architect in Nordea Bank, Oslo, Norway. He graduated in the year 2007 from the Department of Tripoli. I welcome you, sir.
Hi, everyone. Probably, I think everyone would be a bit tired at the end of this two-day summit, so I shouldn't be taking much time, boring you guys. But really, it's been a wonderful 2 days. I've been hearing most of the sessions. I think most of them have covered what I have to say in engineers in making. So, and most of them have given wonderful highlights about the current trends, technologies, jobs for the futures, AI, IoT, whatever. So I think in this topic of engineering in making, so I don't want to go into more on the same technical level and what are the prospects and things. But I just want to be very brief and talk about my perspectives and experience of engineering making and how the differences between a degree and a skill set, and also to have the self-learning versus mentorship. So I'd like to share my screen. Let us see. Yes. Is that viewable for everyone?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay, yeah. So first is I think I have given the pictures of two people here. So both of them are actually engineers. Both of them have made very notable achievements. But can you guess the names of both of these people? I'm sure that most of them would guess the person in the left, Albert Einstein. So we have been very familiar with this name right from our school days. But who's the guy in the next photo? The next person is Gustav Eiffel. So he's the person behind the beautiful Eiffel Tower that's standing in Paris, France today. So why I just presented this picture? So the first part of the topic is the degrees versus skill set. Back in days where the degrees, I would say, I would put the degrees in other perspective, a theoretical knowledge, and the recognizable knowledge, how that was seen compared to a very skillful person or a skill set of a person. So these two people, what's the difference is, like Albert Einstein, no doubt he is also a skillful person, but still he's a renowned person of a scientific knowledge who held various positions in royal societies of London and various other places, and he has been recognizable. But the person Eiffel, so if he wouldn't have built Eiffel Tower, I'm not sure that fairly would have been recognized in the history. But this guy is a very, very efficient, skillful person. Other than Eiffel Tower, he has actually built a lot number of bridges for peoples in Europe, and still, if you go to some of the Baltic countries, his name has been adored much. So this itself actually shows how the perspective of a degree and a skill set was considered from the future, from history. So look at these pictures, like guys of Pyramid and Mahabalipuram of Chennai, the first analytical machine and then first computer. Do we really know the name of the people who built this highly skillful monuments or machines? Probably we would know the kings under which these monuments were built, or maybe the companies who introduced this machine, or maybe the inventor, but not the engineers who actually built it. Do we know the engineer or the architect or the mason who built Taj Mahal? No. So what it really shows is, in this industrial era, when this industrial revolution, or even the pre-industrial era when it comes, so the skill set or the skillful of a person was not much highlighted when it as in knowledge. So So look at this one. So this is a picture of a pre and post industrial era. In the pre industrial era, let's say like before 200 years before, our major profession all around the world, or the civilization, is agriculture. So we were mostly an agrarian society, right? And mostly we were on decentralized economies, and the profession of agriculture is mostly based upon a skills of a person, a skills of a harvesting person, or skills of a person who nurtured cattle. So there the skills were highly regarded. But what happened after the industrial era came into picture? What happened after the invention of steam power, invention of electricity? There's kind of a centralization that occurred among economies. The major corporates that evolved, and they what they did is they took one invention, which is a prototype, and they built it a prototype, and then instead of a people, they used machines to do the work. So when the machine started doing the work, then the actual skill of the people was started being ignored. I would put it in other way. It's a supply and demand. That's the thing. So when you are at a place where your supply is less compared to the demand, then you are more recognizable. When you are at a place where when your supply is more, your and the demand is less, you are not recognizable, and that's what happened. When the in industrial era, so whatever industrial outputs, let's say an agriculture based industrial outputs, or any other metallurgy or anything, they had a prototype, and they put it in a company, and thousands of workers were working and doing the same monotonous jobs. No invention, no ratification of their knowledge, nothing. So what it turned out is they were considered as like not intellectuals. They were just considered doing random jobs. All their skills gone. So this is what happened, like historically. So as I said, so the main reason is like why a scholar was rewarded more than a skilled person historically was due to this supply versus demand. And another reason I would say is like let's take from again the agrarian society. Many were not ready to adapt for the change. So that was a big reason that the skills for a skillful person like of today, skills might be considered good, but after 10 years or 15 years, there would be something new demand, and these skillful persons are unable to, or maybe hesitant to change. And then there was a new type of technology that evolved, and that got more recognizable. So this was also one of the reasons for that. So if I put it in a chronological way, so I would say that a skill set on a monotonous jobs without any innovation actually had a drop on both on wages and recognition, and a skill set with a knowledge, with degrees with a reputable institution had a more wage and more recognition. And this is applicable to any sector, and I would say any countries in the world. This is how it happened. So now, what now? How it's today, and what's there for future? So the people who are hearing this talk now, many of them have self-assessed themselves. Some are self-assessed and know that I can get a GPA of 9 in college, so I'm a more knowledgeable person. I don't care about a skill set. I will be employed. Some has a really good skill set, like let it be in electrical or electronics or civil engineering department. Maybe they do not. They are not featuring themselves well in a theoretical studies. So they might have kind of a fear that what is my future. So that's the reason that I'm putting this perspective. So for people who are skilled, but they are not much about their theoretical knowledge. So what is there for future for them? So first thing is in history, if you see a historical time, though you are skillful, they were really blockades to showcase your skill sets. You had to go and get your degree from a reputable institution to show yourself as an intellectual, right, or as an employable person. So the constrained degrees were mandatory. But today, actually, the way of promoting your skills are enormous, and the whole landscape of education, I would say, has changed a lot for the last 20 years. That's thanks to the information revolution, thanks to the mobile revolution, thanks to the internet revolution, thanks to the open economy. A lot of factors are there. So today it's like let you be an engineer of any department. So if you know about your topic and if you think that you are skillful enough, then there are ways to promote yourself, there are ways to sell yourself, there are ways to enhance yourself. This is one. And other thing is, when you do this enhancement, how the job market will look at you in 3 years or 5 years down the line. I would say, based on all the recent researches and what we are seeing, let it be on India or Europe or other countries, the job market is really positive enough to acknowledge people who are more skillful. So today the talk is only being skillful will not enough. Only being and paper knowledge is not enough. There's to be a combination. There's to be a combination to portray yourself, to sell yourself, and that's what will be marketed in future. So how to achieve with your right skill set? Let's say you are a skillful person, but how can you achieve that? Before going to it, I'll just tell one example about a person called Arunachalam. Probably some of them would have known, some of them not known. So he is like he is not a big literate. He is from Tamil Nadu. So he had a problem in his family where the women during the menstrual period, right hygiene and the use of right napkin is important for them. So he realized it and he came up with a very low cost sanitary napkin building machine. He was very skillful on that, but he didn't stop with that. He wanted to promote a skill. He wanted to showcase that this is possible for all the economically challenged communities where the hygiene of a woman is being compensated. So he made himself promoted, and today people have seen his growth. The Bill Gates Foundation has invited him for presenting his innovations. He has been offered a lot from venture capitalists. Bollywood movie has been made on him. So this is one example I have taken to say that if you have a real right skill set and attitude towards developing yourself, you can achieve with that. So with this, let's go into how we can also fine tune and how we can enhance your skills, or how we can achieve with your skill. There are two topics or two categories, I would say. One is fine tune and excel your skills. I think for past 2 days, a lot number of sessions talked about this one, like fine tune and excel your skills and knowledge. So I don't want to go into that. But let's say you have your skills now, you're fine tuned, but how to sell your skill, how to be employable, how to promote yourself. So on reality, there are many ways. Like in digitally, there are many ways. But I'm going to talk about on a personal level, what you have to do. Okay, so the 5 things I would say to best sell your skills is, first, set a goal or vision. So that is like kind of a essential for anything. So to start, be it to enhance your knowledge or be it to fine tune your skill. So first, you have a skill. Let's say you have it might be a small skill. Nowadays people are having their own YouTube channel about doing a home gardening. Many people have thought what you will get with the home gardening, but I have seen YouTube channels with more than 2 million subscribers. Just the YouTube channel is doing on how to build a home garden, vertical garden and stuff. So what they need is first a vision. So with whatever skill you have, make a vision, what you want to achieve with that skill. Second thing is, be a gannet. Gannet means a person who is always hungry. No matter how much he eats, he's always hungry. So such a way, you have to be hungry for your skill. You have to hungry because you cannot say that on this area, I am the most skillful person in the world. No. So if you take historically, like in South India, there was this Chola Empire. and who are considered as the one of the best architects for doing the temples. But they didn't stop there. They actually there were stories and inscripts that where they sailed to the Southeast Asia to know about the different architectural secrets. They have even gone to Europe to know on that time. So I'm talking about 1,000 years before. So nowhere people stopped for search of fine tuning their skills and what's happening in the world. So be a Gannett for your skill, and the third one is try to commercialize. Try to find the commercial areas for the skill. As I said, for example, if you are very skillful in one part of, let's say, a design, a mechanical design, you are very skillful in that. If you think, then today you have the whole world connected through internet. So look out for forums, look out for places where you can showcase your skill, you can learn about what's happening around the world. Thanks to this online courses where the universities are offering courses today directly. So use all that, and there are forums where you can ask questions and you can attend summits. So you have to find, one way is academically you have to fine tune. Other way is commercial areas where the job opportunities for very specific skill set you have. So you have to try to find out. So seek that. Once we have found some areas, so then you have to have a good storytelling, a good presentation. So one of the common things, I have also encountered when I do this teachings for the government school kids is lot of government school kids, a lot of government college people are very skillful, but they lack the public presentation skills. When I did my engineering in college, in Pondicherry Engineering College, I have my own friends who lacked the presentation skills. But today, after 13 years, if I could say the positions they are in today, many have actually excelled. So guys who really have this in mind, please don't worry. Okay, so you can enhance yourself, but having a presentation skill is required. Though you have a skill set, you need that presentation skill to express how you can stand out from others. How best is your skill set from others? So that's required. And the last one is be a Spartan to encounter challenges skillfully. See, if you are only a speaker, okay, if you are only a kind of theoretical knowledge based speaker, I have seen you don't need to worry much about the current day challenges. But people who really who think they are skillful, they know things, that means they should be ready to encounter the challenge and then give us a solution to that. And that's when you be noticeable. Okay, so what I mean to say is, it's talking or paper knowledge will not be enough today. So you need to have the knowledge, and also you need to be ready to go to groundwork and do the encounter the challenge and fix things. This is applicable to same IT industry or the core technology industry, anything. So this, I think, is a way of 5 to have a best selling of skill set. So with that, the first part of the topic, I want to finish it off where by saying that today, or historically, the degrees might be the only way to acknowledge a person, but it's not the case from today or to the future. So, the example of Elon Musk, the guy behind SpaceX and Tesla, has officially declared that a person, even with a dropout of a college, if he can able to portray skills, he will be offered job in his company because he himself is a dropout. So world is changing, things are changing. So have your skill set, enhance your skill set, seek more knowledge. Skill set with the knowledge will always take you higher. So with this, I'm stepping into my second topic. or maybe the second part of the topic of self-learning and mentorship. Again, this comes like kind of a supplementing or the first topic. So when I talk about the self-learning and mentorship, I would just think about me, like when I was in 4 years of college, all we had was a mentorship. I would say not much of self-learning. And when we joined the IT, many of my friends also will have the same feeling. First 2 or 3 years is almost like what we know, we just apply. But then we slowly started learning about ourselves and see that we were just one among 200,000 or 300,000 employees, how we can stand out. And that's where we come to terms with what we like. It might be technology, it might be other job. And then most of them, that time, gone for self-learning. So today, in this 13 years, I would say that a lot of things that have given fruit to me in my profession is on self-learning, not on the mentorship. But still, the mentorship is the base. So the mentorship gives us a structural formation of how to approach a profession, first in an academic way and also in the professional way. So let's so on this topic now, I want to touch much on self-learning, because mentorship is something that we have it right in undergrad or in somewhat in the postgrad, but I want to insist that now at some point of time, people have to start self-learning. That's really important. So in this next, I have some 4 or 5 slides where I'm just going to talk about very briefly about the stepping stones for self-learning. No, nothing technical, nothing pointing to one department. If you want to self-learn, this is completely taken from my experience. If you want to self-learn on anything, what is required? Before going into it, I will just tell a very short story of what happened, like in my experience. I traveled to Norway and I was working in a bank here, and there was a colleague working with me. His name was Bjorn. He was 55 years old, and one day I just having a chat with him, and then I got to know that he's working as a developer, a same position, for 25 years. So 25 years, no promotion, just working as a developer. He told me, and just a thought that we will have is that means he's not a good worker. He's kind of a loser in terms of profession. Probably he's a lazy person. That's what I thought. Then I just saw a picture in his desk, a picture of an aircraft, right? A fully built aircraft. I asked him, so Bjorn, is the aircraft you first flew on? He said, no, this is the aircraft I first built. So that means he has self-built an aircraft. I was like, wow. Then I asked him why. He said that it started as my hobby, and now I have built 3 aircraft, and I have had my own licensing company, and I coach people on the aircraft design, and so the earning is still much more than this work. This work is just work I'm doing. So I'm just doing for 5 hours or 6 hours a day, and rest I have done. And he said that all these things he has done it self-learning. Then I got to know that this is not only the story of Beyond, it's a story of many people that's working here. So everyone is doing one work and having their own passion, and then they are working their ass out on their passion, and then they are commercializing it. Some having a commercial success, some doesn't. So what I learned is, so then the importance of self-learning. So what we require in self-learning, what if when we have emotional depressions, when we encounter failures in self-learning, what that's required, okay? First one, the first stepping stone is focus towards one direction. Let's say today we have very new technologies like coming into. Someone wants to know about or learn or master about artificial intelligence. So that's a big topic, right? So you can take a problem that's happening and then try to focus yourself on that problem. Always don't drift out. So have one direction and focus towards that direction. So that is something, because the basic difference between a self-learning and a mentorship is in a mentorship, you have a structural formation. If you have a 4 years of degree, so first year you will learn common engineering. Second year, you will learn some electrical machines. Third year, digital circuit, something like that. But here, nothing. You are the mentor, right? So you go by yourself. So at least on the framework. So you should set a goal and then focus on the goal and no drift from the goal. So that is a first pillar that's required. And then the most important, I would say, is failure is fun. In Norwegian, there is a phrase called skvit or gøy, which literally I took it as failure is fun. This is a phrase that has been most told for any student in a school here. So, for example, if they take it to a parents-teachers meeting, and then if I complain, like my son did not do well in school or in studies, and they will say the same word, "Svit the goy," means failure is fun. Don't pressurize him. Let him try new things. Let him fail. So this is something I learned from here. And I think it's also most important for self-learning, because in self-learning, you will not achieve what you want at first go. So let it be a programming, let it be trying to build an algorithm. So no algorithm has ever given the best efficiency at the first coding, right? So failure, you have to, and one more important perspective why I say failure is fun is today in world became competitive. Everyone wants to put out a goal and make themselves to achieve the goal faster. It's not the case. You have to go at your own pace and then take failure as fun, try out new things, and you will not start from the base where you are. You will arrive somewhere, but that would be fun. So always fun part is really required in self-learning, and taking the failure as fun is absolutely essential. And the next one is freedom and responsibility. So when I start, like when I was in my work and I was given a thing that, you know what, you can just do a course for yourself this year. I had a complete freedom. And I thought that I will do that. I have been given a budget, I would do that. But then when the year end, I did not do. So I had a freedom, but I wasn't responsible. So the problem with the freedom is there's no one to control you. So if you don't have a responsibility, then you're not going anywhere. So in self-learning, where you set your own pace, where you set your own target, freedom with responsibility is an absolute required one. So we are what, like you can make a schedule. We have plenty of examples where we made a schedule and we never follow it. So freedom with responsible is very important one. When you make a focus, there's no reason to compensate on the schedules. So that is what is much required. So, and then soul mantra to gather knowledge, communicate, right? So in self-learn, so 50 years ago, 60 years ago, much of the academicians spent a lot of time in libraries to go through books. So they have to go to a section where on their field some renowned authors have written. So it was much difficult those days. But today, with this internet era, so communication has never been a problem, right? We used to say funny that the whole set of IT knowledge is based on Stack Overflow and other forums where we seek out questions and then get the answers and implement. That's okay. That's okay. That's considered completely okay. I think even some of the universities have already transformed into open book exams where you'll be given a case study and you can refer whatever you want, but just present a solution. So communication is a really important aspect of self-learning. We have to, and also we need to know where to communicate. It's not that you just go around on all the networks. You have to have a focus on that communication. And then again, a very important on a personal level. Self-learning is not about competition. It's never about competition. Self-learning is about collaboration. So first, because you want to self-learn on something that has been learned by many people before. So try to collaborate, try to self-learn. And there's nothing that, I'm learning on certain topic. I'm learning on a data mining. I have to complete in next 2 months before my friend achieves the degree. No, there's nothing like that. Self-learn is about collaborating with others and making yourself improving your competencies. So it's nowhere nothing to about a competition. And this competitive learning is one of the not so good aspect I like about the education system that we had. And slowly that's been also transforming. So let's hope for a brightful future there. And the last one is the real fruit of self-learning, I would say, is sharing. So without sharing, not you or your friends or the community or the field you are like to learn will grow. So it's like anything if we see today. So started from a Wikipedia or started from any big forums today. So it's all have grown through learning and sharing, and that's inevitable. There are back on days where people used to copyright, and then there was a selective ways of showcasing their findings. But now it's not the case. It's like you make the findings open, and that's when you grow. So that's the new kind of trend that's set. So I think this is what I like to share about self-learning. Now, again, coming to the point, then what about the mentorship? As I said, in each, if you look at each pillar of the self-learning, we have to have a back on mentorship. See, the difference is mentorship is for some time. Like if you're an undergrad for 4 years, for postgrad for 2 years, but self-learning will be forever in life. So we have to know, we have to take all the good learnings that we got it from mentorship and then put it on self-learning forever. You guys are actually gifted with wonderful professors in tech. I myself will say in this 13 years that still some of the advisors we have received from Shanti ma'am or from some other professors still are helping us, So we had fun in college, there's no problem. And usually the fun part is what we remember. But when you go along with your life for after 10 years or 12 years, when you face the challenges, then you will learn something that you would have got from your mentorship. So there's no doubt that self-learning will completely take away mentorship. Mentorship is a base and self-learning will be a driving wheel forever. So thanks for giving an opportunity, and I like to take any questions.
Yes, sir. We do have questions. So we have so many advancements coming up in macroeconomic level of technology, but there are lots of modifications to be made to them. So ultimately, we have the technology, but at the same time, we are unable to, produce it in a mass scale. So is this actually accelerating the pace of advancement or trying to slow down the pace?
See, everything started with having a simple prototype, right? Any invention, if you see. So scaling it would take time. Scaling it would take first the idea and an attitude towards commercializing. See, if you take it honestly, without commercializing anything, that wouldn't have been scaled, any invention. So today, in a macroeconomic scale, actually we should be thankful. Like whatever inventions that's happening today, that's been scaled in a much faster way than what happened in history. Do you anyone has thought that mobile revolution would just take up India in span of 10, 12 years? Then anyone would have thought that at least WhatsApp usage has conquered India in 1 or 2 years itself. So things are moving faster than what we have. So everything is on the positive side. So the technologies that's been impacted on the macroeconomics should also be seen at the positive side.
And we have one last question. As you said, like the future job markets, they will no more be only about degrees. How do you think will that affect the current existing education system that we have?
It will transform the education system we have. It's already started transforming. I myself has done my master's from a Scottish university. I am living in Norway. So And many people told that, this is an online course, how your job market will take up. It has just given me a good opportunity to seated me in a new position. At the same way, I did it in a university which is also a reputable university in Scotland, and I have my supervisor there. I asked him the same question. You're giving a lot of online courses, so what about your current education system? He said that it has improved them a lot. I can tell you one example. It's a research. For example, a university is having only 60 students. That means 60 students are going to do a research, academic research, and 60 journals are going to be published. But when they open this on an online course and then they accept 200 students, that means 200 researchers, 200 new findings, 200 journals. So much more sharing, much more learning. So things have started transforming, and there's no doubt that no university can say that we will not embrace this transformation. Already, even universities in India, right, from Anna universities to small other private universities, has also started offering these kind of online courses and then making it more open. And it's not only on degrees. Many universities started giving workshops. In many other countries, there are like we have summits. There are tech summits that's happening, and in that summit, usually, academicians usually take part. But for last 5 to 6 years, even corporates like Google, Amazon, they are coming and taking part in the summits. They want to know the best minds there and then try to pull out. So now there has been a much more collaboration between a university, which is a technical institution, and people and the job market. So this is already transforming.
Yes, sir. I think that is it. We will wrap the session up. So thank you, sir. It was a really interesting session on degrees and skill set, and also how skill set weighs more than degrees most times. And I also thank you for your thoughts on the positive sides of self-learning, which is breaking away all the stereotypical thoughts about mentorship. So thank you so much for giving us your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, one and all, and enjoy the summit. Thank you.